DJI status, reality check, October 14th, 2025. Got that coming up next. Bill the Drone Reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night, I hosted Rotor Talk Live and was joined by Mr. Ron Brunt. We spent the better part of the evening discussing all the latest regarding DJI status, including drones that DJI is putting out through shell companies, eBay buying tips, preparing for December 23rd, an FCC ruling that's coming up, and so much more. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. We're going to talk about DJI status, and I'm going to approach this from several standpoints here, okay? And one of the standpoints that I want to talk about first are the shell companies, all right? Because there's a number of drones that are appearing right now, and there's some articles out there that I wanted to kind of go over here with you, okay? Now, the first one, it looks very similar to the SkyRover, and this is called SkyRover X1, all right? Emerges as latest DJI Mini 4 Pro clone on Amazon ahead of December ban, all right? And there's an article out there from, let's see, is Drone XL, and it looks carbon copy of the SkyRover.
And Jack over at Half Chrome has a video on this too.
I found they just use a SkyRover app. So, okay, that's so we know that's going to happen. So we're going to kind of go through these a little bit on the fast side because I do want to spend some time talking about that. Okay. Now, SkyRover, and not to be outdone, they are coming out with another drone. All right. It's called the SkyRover S1.
Yes.
Mini drone surfaces on Amazon. DJI's unreleased budget hybrid drone with 40-minute flight time. All right. And here this is right here. And again, this is a DJI shell company. They produce a SkyRover X1. Budget hybrid with extended capabilities. Half-inch Sony CMOS sensor, 4K at 60 frames per second. 12-megapixel sensor, sits on a 3-axis gimbal. Okay. Pricing and release timing unknown. Okay. So we don't really know what's going on. And not to be outdone here. Okay. Okay, those are for the clones. And one of the things that I also want to talk about too is there looks like there are a lot of sales going on. All right. And DJI's getting, or Amazon, so to speak, is selling off inventory here. Now, the first one is DJI Mini 3 and all variants of it. Amazon slashes 20% off all 3 models. So they're clearing out what's out there right now. Mini 3 standard bundles now $335, save $84. Mini 3 with RC is $439. And let's see here, Mini 3 Fly More combo is now $575. So that's a pretty good deal.
That's surprising, Bill. This is a 3-year-old drone, a 2-year-old drone or more. So not exactly that surprising.
Exactly here. Now, one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and this is probably what we're going to spend some time on here. Now, I know our friend Russ at 51 Drones, he put out a video recently. And basically, he's telling you everything's going to be okay because of these DJI shell companies. And I'm sorry, I could not disagree more strongly with Russ. And this is why. And I'm going to share this article right now. Okay. One of the things that, we have 3 different things that are actually going on right now as far as DJI drones are concerned. We know there's a defense appropriation bill that's been going on. All right. And that they need to be on, they need to have a review done by December 23rd. If not, they will be moved onto the FCC's covered entities list. All right. And then we have the Department of Commerce.
Which means no more DJI drones will get FCC approval.
Exactly. Then we have the Department of Commerce with their Section 232. And now we also have, and this just recently came out, FCC vote could kill DJI shell company strategy before December ban timeline. Okay. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr announced this week the agency will vote October 28th on regulations closing 2 critical loopholes that currently allow coverless components to continue operating in the U.S. market. The timing couldn't be worse for DJI's rapidly expanding network of shell companies, okay? The FCC's covered list already includes Huawei, ZTE, Hikvision, China Mobile, and China Telecom. Current regulations prevent these companies from receiving new equipment authorizations, but 2 loopholes remain open. First, existing rules don't prevent covered list equipment parts from being used inside otherwise authorized devices. Second, previously authorized equipment can continue being imported and sold indefinitely, even after a company joins the covered list. The proposed order would close both gaps. Carr stated the agency would prohibit authorization of devices containing component parts that are on the covered list and authorize the agency to prohibit sale of previously authorized covered list equipment in specific cases. All right. DJI shell companies use covered list components. All right. And that's what they're talking about here. Spatial hover is another one of these. December 23rd deadline looms for DJI security review, and we just talked about that. None have confirmed they're conducting one. DJI automatically joins the FCC covered list. The clock shows 73 days until the deadline. FCC already removing millions of Chinese electronics. The agency isn't bluffing about enforcement. Major U.S. retailers have removed millions of listings for prohibited Chinese electronics following FCC oversight. The removed items include security cameras and phones from companies like Huawei and ZTE. Carr added the companies are putting new processes in place to prevent future prohibited items. Drone XL's take. The FCC vote on October 28th presents a strategic checkmate against DJI shell company workaround. We've been tracking these alternative brand names for months, watching SkyAny, SkyRover, and others flood Amazon's rebranded DJI hardware. Component rules, parts rule exposes the fundamental flaw in that strategy. You can change the name of the box, but you can't hide the DJI technology inside. What makes this particularly significant is the timing DJI faces automatic covered list addition in 73 days if no security review occurs. The component parts prohibition could effectively kill the shell company strategy 16 days before the deadline even hits. Any device using DJI controllers, communication systems, or other identifiable components would presumably face authorization denial or revocation. Retroactive enforcement power is equally critical. Unlike the Huawei precedent, where existing authorizations remain valid, the FCC is explicitly claiming authority to revoke previously approved equipment in specific cases. Shell companies betting on grandfathered authorizations may find those certifications pulled after DJI joins the covered list in December, okay? For drone operators, this accelerates decision-making timelines. If you're planning DJI purchases for 2025 operations, the October 28th vote matters as much as December 23rd deadline. Shell company drones may not provide the regulatory refuge their manufacturers hope for. Okay, and I want to stop right here because a lot of people, you know, and I got to say this, Ron. All right, now I respect Russ. Russ is a great drone reviewer, and he does a great job on his channel. But you know, one of the things that I wanted to make sure of with this is, you know, don't give out hope where there really isn't hope in this instance, okay? Because I'll tell you what, with everything, and I can tell you this, being an experienced ham radio operator, all right, the FCC does not joke around, okay? Because if somebody's doing and I'll just give you a quick example here, and some of the guys who are in the chat know this, who are ham radio guys, okay, they will come after people for, you know, any one of a number of violations. You know, if you're using a wrong ID, if you're on a wrong band, I mean, they will come to your house. All right. They don't mess around. They're very serious about this. The FCC has some clout and has some power. All right. And if Brendan Clark says he's going to do it, he's going to do this. All right. So this isn't a you know, wielding your sword kind of threat. This is a real thing. It's going to happen. All right. So what everybody needs to do, and this is one of the things I'm going to do in an upcoming video, and I'm going to talk about this. My whole thing is this, okay? We're in hurricane season right now in Florida, all right? I'm going to do an analogy for you guys, so hopefully you guys can understand where I'm coming from, all right? In hurricane season, you're on alert. You know, more than likely, we're going to get hit with maybe 1, 2, or more storms coming our way. And whether or not they turn into a hurricane, we don't know. What you do ahead of time, though, is critical, all right? For example, you know, you make sure you have enough water, canned goods on hand. You know, of course, we have a built-in generator. We also have storm shutters to help us out. We live in a concrete block house, which, you know, back in the 70s and 80s, they really didn't exist in Florida. So, you know, and the whole strategy is anymore, it's not, you know, to leave your place, it's stay in place unless you're going to be hit with flash flooding where we wouldn't. Okay, you just stay in place, you shelter in place until the storm is over. Okay, and then you assess and you make preparations afterwards. But the big key here is preparation ahead of time. All right, you get supplies, you're ready for this. You know, if you have a portable generator, you get gasoline, you're ready for that, you're ready to go, you know, at a moment's notice after the storm is over here. Okay, it's the same thing in this instance. Okay, we're preparing for a storm. It's probably going to hit December. Well, it's going to hit December 23rd, one way or another. All right, and whether or not we like it, you know, something is going to happen then, and it probably is not going to. And I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, I don't have almost zero hope. I'm about 99.99% sure this is going to happen. All right. And this covered entities list.
Bill, I'm going to stop you just for a second. I need your role, but you say it's a vote coming up on the 28th. Who is actually voting that day?
That is the FCC, the board, FCC board.
The board. Okay, so Brendan has taken this in front of the board, but they have until then to decide their vote. Is that
right?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
There's a commission that he's the chairman of the FCC.
Right.
So
right. So
that's what happens.
Deal. Do you need all the votes to say yes, or is it a majority rules kind of vote? Or
well, it's really kind of majority rules. I mean, you know, if the vote is 6-5 in favor, then it passes, kind of thing. So, but more often than not, because of what he has said, it's probably going to be a unanimous vote in this instance.
Another fly in the ointment, though, with the government shutdown and people getting laid off, not getting paid or whatever, could that affect some of the efficiency over there if they don't have it? Like, you know, enforcement takes. I know the chairman can just say whatever he wants. He's still getting, but the people that have to do the enforcing, they may be the people that aren't getting paid or being laid off. Do you think that could affect this at all in the short run?
It could. You know, and I think it would be more. Now, they could probably make the ruling, but enforcing this is going to be another deal here. And they've already put things in place. Right. They've already gone out there. Companies have gone out there and gotten rid of a lot of these products out there. So, you know, my whole thing is this. All right, if you want to get the latest in technology, and this is just something I've come to the realization of doing. This is why I got a Mini 5 Pro. This is why I got a Mavic 4 Pro. I'll probably get the Osmo Action 6. The Pocket 4 does not interest me, but I think they're going to be coming out with that as well. The Neo 2, I may consider something like that. And the other thing is purchase DJI accessories like batteries, especially. Okay, props not so much, but batteries, yes. So you want to be prepared for the long haul. And what I mean by the long haul, maybe 3 or 4 years. Okay, and you're going to have to really work your batteries very smartly. You're going to have to rotate them in and out. And like I said, get enough batteries for this. In fact, so much so, am I preparing for the storm? I'm actually thinking about, I have almost $200 in DJI credit, store credit, and I'm actually thinking about getting an Air 3S with a basic controller and have that as a backup for my other Air 3, okay, Air 3S.
Right.
That's how much I'm thinking ahead on this, because, you know, once December 23rd hits, guys, okay, it's going to be a reality check, all right? And, you know, there are people out there that are telling you that it's going to be okay. And, you know, and like Russ, and I'm sorry, I'm going to disagree with him. He's not right. Okay. You know, for whatever reason he did that video, you know, these shell companies are going to crack like an eggshell. No pun intended here. But I mean, the FCC sees right through that. Those components are coming from DJI, and it will be banned just as well as a DJI drone will be banned. Okay. So there's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Let's help people understand a little bit here. Now, why you can't get a DJI drone right now in the U.S. is because the customs people stop the drone from getting in. They see a box labeled DJI, they see return address labeled DJI, they stop the package, but they're not stopping any SkyRover packages or Cohita packages or anything else like that. So right now we're still good because, again, those shell companies, they don't get flagged by the border customs.
Right. Now, this is
But
because
that'll all change after the 23rd.
exactly. Now, one of the things with this is, and I want to say this as well too, is this is because of the Uyghur labor going on over in China. This is why the packages have been stopped at customs and have been sent back, is because that's what U.S. Customs and Border Patrol has been told to do. So that's why it's
by Congress.
by
Congress came up with this whole Uyghur thing that's never been proven.
And I also want to say this too. Okay, I think I can probably speak for Ron, myself, and some of the other drone reviewers that I know. Okay, we're shooting this to you straight. All right, we're not going out there. Now, I have not been fear mongering about this. Okay, our message has been consistent throughout this whole process, this whole ordeal, if you want to call it that. All right, and I'm not sensationalizing things to get clicks out there. Okay, I'm telling you the truth. All right, we've been on here doing this for 7 years. Ron's been doing it with me. Ron's been on doing Drone Nation for a long time as well with Marcus and DeMarco. Johnny's been doing it. Ray's been doing it. Other guys have been doing this as well. And they shoot you straight. They tell it to you like it is. Okay. And this is what we're doing right here. Okay. So I want you guys to be fully prepared for this. All right. I don't want you to say, all of a sudden, December 22nd, but Bill, you didn't tell me. No, Bill's told you. Okay. Ron's told you. Drone Nation has told you. Other guys have gone out there and have told you as well. Okay. We're not clickbait. Okay. We want you to have a 100% reality check right here. Okay. That yes, I mean, things are going to happen here. Now,
Bill, explain a little deeper for the people out there. We've all order directly from DJI has already been a thing that hasn't happened most of the year, of course, even going back to last year. But how do you think, Brandon Carr and whoever, any agency, how are they eventually going to shut down a package coming from South Korea that looks like your grandmother's cookies coming through?
They can't. See, that there's no way they can do that.
Now, of course, that when you get that drone out of the box, that drone has to be an FCC approved drone. So that's something that like we already have now. Like, well, I'm just taking a guess. The next new drone coming out next year probably the Air 4. I'm just guessing. It doesn't matter. Don't argue with me. You can say any drone you want. But when the Air 4 comes out next year, that will not have FCC approval if everything goes according to what we think on the 23rd of December. So that means even if you order that drone from South Korea or Japan or so on, you get that drone in the box. It shouldn't have a wave to broadcast on. Is that correct, Bill?
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. And I'm telling Maxwell multi-rotors, you might be preparing for a storm you can't beat. There's a bill that would rescind previous FCC approval for drones. So depending on what happens, both new and old drones could become illegal. Okay. And I'm going to answer this question. That's not going to be able to happen. Okay. And the reason that can't happen, as far as like our existing drones, like the Air 3S, the Mavic 3 Pro, the Mavic 4 Pro, anything that's currently out right now. Okay. It would involve the bands that these are on, okay, in terms of the communication protocol.
They would have to shut down a lot more of the drones.
Yeah, and they're not going to do that, okay. So
and the person made this bill doesn't understand that, so it was a bill written poorly.
Yeah. It as far what the intent of this is not against existing drones, okay. The intent of this is not to allow future drones to come into the United States.
Yeah,
all right.
Shutting down older drones is not going to help the American drone companies sell more drones because they're not competing against old drones. They're competing against current drones as far as trying to make sales at some future date when they actually are available.
Okay, Eye in the Sky Drones. I don't know if you stopped. We're here at the beginning of the show, and the description of the last 5 videos I put out are to the 2 eBay sellers that I have listed out here. And I'm trying to be real nice and gentle when I say this. Okay. I'm getting pinged multiple times a day, asking me for the sellers that I used on eBay. Okay. like I said, they're in the description of at least the last 5 videos that I have out there. So you can feel free to use them and, vet them on your own as far as that's concerned. I'm not trying to be, standoffish or anything here, but when you get pinged at least 15 to 20 times a day about this, and I have made, and I broadcast this out here, and I'm just trying to let everybody know, okay, this has been broadcast out there where I bought both the Mavic 4 Pro and the Mini 5 Pro from the 2 sellers from South Korea. All right. You need to vet them on your own, number one. And number two, they are in the descriptions of the videos. I've also posted them on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group, Facebook page, out on X, and out on Instagram. So it is out on social media. It is here. It is available for you. Please read the description. Okay. I'm sorry. Don't mean to be curt or rude or anything, but when you get pinged as many times during the day, and I also want to repeat too, guys, I'm not retired. I work close to 60 hours a week. All right. So my time during the day is for the job. All right. That's where I'm at. So
I'm going to answer the bigger question here. It doesn't really matter where Bill and I got it from. As far as I know, nobody that I know that ordered a Mavic 4 Pro from either South Korea or Japan did not get it. So I haven't known anybody that's got scammed on a Mavic 4 Pro from South Korea or Japan. So I would just try to find the one at the lowest price, but that has over 95% good feedback.
Exactly. Okay.
Like, I would buy the one I got if it wasn't the lowest price. I'd try to find one like a little bit lower than I got it at.
Yeah, and that's your prerogative, and that's what I say. It took me a lot of work to find these sellers, but things may have changed for these sellers. Okay, like I said, and one thing that you need to realize with these sellers out there, these are mom and pop places. Okay, that more than likely they're going out to a store and buying the drone. Okay.
It could be just one young guy running down to his local Best Buy store. He gets the order that he runs down and buys from the department store and says to you, you're not, you're probably not buying from anything close to the company. You're maybe 2 people, 3 people at the most or whatever. So
John, I know what you're saying right here. And on the truth about this is it is not going to affect existing drones. Okay. Well, what's going to affect it is future. If these are for future drones that are going to be sold here in the United States. All right.
Yeah. Affect existing drones as far as the existing drones won't even be for sale anymore. That's how it's going to affect the existing drones.
Like as far after December 23rd, you won't be able to buy a Mavic 4 Pro, a Mini 5 Pro, an Air 3S. The whole
not off of Amazon or Beach Photo, Adorama. They'll all not be for sale on those legitimate sites. Your only option will be the eBayers.
Exactly. Okay. So I want to make sure that we're real clear about this. Okay, guys, I'm on your side. Okay, understand that. All right. Number one.
And Richard has a comment. Richard's eBay prices could change daily. You're right, Richard. That's exactly what I'm saying. Don't necessarily buy it from where I bought it from. Buy somebody selling it who buy it from the guy selling it the cheapest.
In other words, go out there and do homework yourself. Okay. I've given you a starting point. Okay. These 2 sellers may not even have any drones right now. Yeah. All right. So
and my early videos, like my unboxing video, my seller's listed in there too.
So go out there, do that research. Also check their recent feedback on that item and make sure that you're happy. And also, if you want to make sure that they don't charge tariffs, in both of these, the listings indicated that the seller absorbed the tariff. There won't be any charge for that. But you need to vet these sellers on your own. Okay.
And here's the rule that goes across most of this. If you're getting free shipping, you're probably paying a tariff. If you're paying shipping, like $100 shipping, it's usually they can take care of for you. So you're paying one way or the other. If you're getting free shipping, you're paying yourself. If you're paying for shipping, they're taking care of it for you. That's the general rule out there, Bill.
Exactly. So I want to make sure of something here. Okay, we're coming down to the wire here. Okay, we're almost like coming up on 60 days before this December 23rd deadline is coming up, and there's really kind of been no action on this. So you have to prepare as if this is going to happen. All right. Don't have the mindset that, it's not going to, it's going to happen. All right. How much, how long, it's unknown. We don't know that. Okay. So, like I said, when we prepare for a hurricane, they tell you to prepare for at least 10 days of being without help. And that means no access to water, food, that kind of stuff. Okay. So make sure you have a 10-day supply on hand. All right. So, of course, we do have that here for our hurricane supplies. Okay. In this instance, okay, you probably definitely want to buy a couple of extra batteries. You want to rotate them, and you want to be really smart how you use your batteries, okay? Because if you want these batteries to last 2 or 3 or more years, okay, you need to rotate them in and out properly. You need to charge them to 60%. You need to cycle them in and out. For one flight, use one battery, another flight, use another battery, that kind of thing. All right. When you do that, you're going to maximize the life of the battery. All right. So you need to be very smart about this.
Yeah. And Bill, I don't live in a hot climate like you do in the summer, but on my DJI drones, I've never had a battery go bad in the 2 or 3 year time span. But I mean, I know some people have spalling batteries in the heat or whatever, but I've never had an issue with DJI drone battery in the first 3 years of ownership.
And Casey Crime Fighter, yeah, absolutely, I agree. Rotate your drone. Use your Mavic 4 Pro one day, use your Air 3S another day, use your Mini 4 Pro another day. Yeah. Rotate them. Move them in and out. All right. And the other thing is, like I said, as far as and I can't emphasize this enough. Okay, there's no care refresh for us here in the United States. So you're left with alternatives of the AllState protection plan that's available through eBay on a lot of the purchases, or like myself, I've already been in touch with my State Farm agent. It's been submitted to underwriting, and I'm waiting to hear back on approval as far as that's concerned. All right.
Of course, by what you've been saying now, Bill, even if you do get fully refunded for a drone to crash in an accident, you'll have no way to replace it unless you order from eBay.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So,
and of course, we did hear that one thing. The Camerized DJI store in New York City said they'll repair drones. Now I don't know which drones, whether it's current drones, older drones, but they will repair drones.
Okay, John,
you have to ship it to them, of course. In your own box. It's not covered. It's not a covered warranty repair. You send it to them. They give you an estimate of what it costs. You can make a decision whether you're going to get it repaired or not from them. So it's not the best option, but it is an option, Bill.
Exactly here. And John, I want to answer your question. Can they stop updates going forward? No, they really can't, because these updates go around the world. All right. As far as firmware updates.
No, can I help? Can I help with this question?
Go for it, Ron.
What you could do, John, is like, I wanted to get the what do you call the when you shoot in D-Log and you need the correction LUT. I need the DJI correction LUT for the Mavic 4. Well, guess what? The Mavic 4 is not sold in the US. So you go to DJI's website, the correction LUT is not there, Bill, for the Mavic 4. But guess what? You just go down the bottom right-hand corner and switch it from US to any other country. And guess what? There's the Mavic 4 software there. So it's easy. Just said right on the website. Just click to another language, bottom right-hand corner, and you'll see all the stuff you need. Even if you want to do the updates, from what's the application that you do?
It's the DJI Assistant 2 for consumer drones.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's how you would do your updates. Yeah. So, as far as that's concerned. Mark.
And Bill, that's really going to only affect drones going forward that we can't get anyways. Like the drones we have now, the updates should still be good. But if, a drone like, say, the Air 4, which isn't even here yet, comes out next year, that's the one where you're going to have trouble getting updates for, but you can't get the drone anyways. So, you don't really need the updates. You won't
be able to get the drone anyway. Yeah. So that's going to kind of be a moot point. So, the whole idea here is to be ready for this, okay, and to not have blinders on, because I know, there's so much that has gone out there as far as videos are concerned, and so many people are telling you things as far as that. We're trying to shoot you the truth here, guys. All right, we're not candy coating this. We're not sugar coating it. you know, the most important thing here is this, okay? Understand something, okay? If you have a drone right now, all right, and you have batteries, all right, you're still going to be able to fly it come December 23rd. You'll still be able to fly it come March 23rd, all right? That's not going to change. What's going to change is your ability to buy, say, a DJI Air 4S, all
So
right?
what you're
You're
saying,
not
Bill,
going to be able to
don't
do
be
that.
that guy scrambling around in the morning of the 23rd trying to get your DJI drone purchased.
Yeah. Don't, you know, if you want to do that, the time to act is now. And I also, too, you know, don't be so much concerned about propellers, although that would be a good thing to get. Batteries are definitely a key commodity to get if you want to get the OEM batteries. And that's something I highly recommend because aftermarket batteries have been very troublesome.
Hit or
I
miss. Yeah.
know a lot of people that have had bad experiences with them. So that's what
Look
I,
at Good Times, and he's right about this. Ordered via your link on Saturday afternoon, and FedEx had it in Anchorage, Alaska on Monday to set the ride tomorrow. It's funny, Bill, when those packages get to Anchorage, they get to us within almost no time from Anchorage.
oh yeah. And that's where, you know, and you'll see when it's FedEx, it has listed on there. UPS, it doesn't, but on FedEx, it'll tell you when it clears customs, and it's almost right away. It's almost instantaneously that it clears customs.
I
There's
like
no
that
issue with it.
customs guy up in Alaska.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just boom, and
I
it
hope they
comes.
don't lay that. I hope they don't lay that man off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As far as that's concerned, yeah. And you know what? And this is something I'm encouraging people to do. And you know, for me, go out there and take a look at some of these things and reevaluate everything. You know, as far as your drone fleet is concerned, you'll still be able to buy things like on Amazon, like accessories, like prop holders, you know, whatever. As
Yeah,
far as that's
if you
concerned,
got an older drone, like you need props, the older drones, there's probably a whole bunch of those props already in the U.S. for older drones. It's probably the ones you're going to have trouble finding props for is the most recent drones, like the Mini 5 and Mavic 4 Pro. But an older drone, they probably have warehouses full of props for some of the older drones.
John, I would go ahead and open that now and get it fired up. That would just be for me. Um, that way you can make sure you have firmware updates. It's all update and it's good to go.
Yeah,
Um,
and probably whoever bought that thing for you for Christmas won't be able to return it at that point. So if
yeah,
it
it's probably not.
probably if you bought it from eBay, the return window is probably like a week or something like that, or something. So you better make sure that thing's fires up and is in good shape.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
then carefully put it back in the box and wrap it up.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, if this is a gift for somebody else, just fire it up, make sure it works. You do the firmware updates, everything, and then box it up and put it under the tree for
Put a
Christmas.
bow on it.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing to do. That's what I would do.
Yeah, Johnson he bought on eBay, so yeah. I mean, more often than not, that thing is going to be fine. But I wouldn't let it sit for 2 months and then try to call the eBay say, hey, this drone doesn't work. They don't have to, their return. I know their return policy doesn't go that long, so you're going to be in a bad situation. Wait, hey, I think Wade points are right. If the Jets win the Super Bowl, we have a shot with the DJI drones, right, Bill?
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. Well, this is kind of like, I called this as far a reality check for tonight, and it really is. And I want to make sure, like I said, and I hate to really beat this like a drum here, but I want you guys to be prepared for this. I want you to be ready. I don't want you to get caught blindsided by any of this. You need to take this to heart, and that this is going to happen, and this is how we're going to be doing things from now on as far as drones are concerned. All right, we're still going to be able. I firmly believe we'll still be able to get firmware updates. I don't think that's going to be any problem whatsoever. Going forward, they can't shut that off. All right, so that's not going to happen. It's just going to be going forward. We won't be able to buy an Air 4. We won't be able to buy a Mavic 5 Pro. Okay.
Hey, Bill,
Unless
on that
something
topic
happens.
here, I'm going to make this short because I need to try and wrap up. And this is going back to Russ's video a little bit. I mean, I haven't really been too interested in the SkyRovers and the Kuhias because they're just cloning drones I already have, right? But
Right.
where I would be interested in the SkyRover thing, if somehow in 2026, if they were able to send like you said, an Air 4 or a Mini 6 Pro or something, I would be interested if they clone a drone I do not already have and somehow
Yeah.
get FCC approval for it. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if they could make that happen or whatever, that's when I would be interested in, when they would be cloning a drone I don't already have.
Exactly. That's a really, really good point, Ron. Really good point.
And whether, somehow they could sneak some of those through. I mean, well, first of all, they can't sneak them through because we got to get FCC approval so we can fly them.
Right. Right.
That's right off the bat. It doesn't matter if they come in eBay. If they're not FCC approved, you're just getting a paperweight.
Exactly. And to kind of wrap things up here, I want to make sure I like Russ. I think Russ does a great job on his channel. Okay. He's a great drone reviewer. He's got great videos out there, but I'm going to part ways with him on this video. Okay. I just think that, this is going to happen. This is a reality check. This is why I'm saying what I'm saying here. Okay. And, getting you guys prepared for this and, is what we want to do. We want to educate you so you're knowledgeable about this. And I kind of try to do the same thing on my ham radio channel too when things are coming up like this, is to educate people and to let them know about things. For example, with ham radio, there's a bill before Congress right now that's going to allow us to put antennas if we live in an HOA on our property. And the reason for that is for emergency communications, okay? And this has bipartisan support, which is unique for something like this, because there's a lot of members of Congress that are ham radio enthusiasts. So wish we could get some drone enthusiasts in Congress.
Again, I know trying to add, but this is a short piece. So the case DJI just lost recently, where they had it, they lost a case where they were trying to say they weren't a Chinese military corporation, right? It was
right.
just a couple weeks ago, right? Well, DJI's already appealed that. They already
I saw that today.
Appeal on that, so that could slow the process down, because most things can't happen if something's under appeal.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
That could maybe possibly slow the works down. But watch, somehow, even though these appeals sometimes can take years, somehow this one will get sped up. It'll be decided before the 23rd.
I think so too.
It'll be the fastest court case in history, or whatever, fastest appeal settlement in history. But I like DJI's strategy. Keep throwing lawsuits at them or whatever. Keep fighting them in court.
Yep.
And if you're a taxpayer, which we all are, and you have no interest in drones, your taxes are going up because the government's fighting nonstop these lawsuits, right? We're supposedly down the budget, and now we're throwing how many millions away fighting these lawsuits that that even the judge in that last trial admitted that the evidence wasn't bulletproof. That
most of what he said in that 50-page summary was in favor of DJI, which was that's what I read in an article today. Right. So,
but it's kind of a stacked deck, because they have a history of just just going along with whatever the Defense Department says.
Question of the day: what did you think of DJI status reality check October 14th, 2025? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.